All right, hello everyone. This is Josh, also known as Yashu. You're just tuning in to another episode of the TLOY Talks podcast. You can get this on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Buzzsprout, Patreon, and much more too. Definitely check out Patreon. I've said it like a million times too. Check out the tiers. But yo, I'm just gonna get it like started right here. So we actually have like one of the rising visionaries in the Toronto GTA music scene. Has covered a lot of events, whether it's from a local rap artist, a local R&B artist, or anyone within like that caliber too. Like whether it's a big name or a small name, you've probably seen them at a show. You've probably seen them at an event, like taking photos, doing video work. He's also very creative within the digital arts with his magazine line ABJ, and it's amazing to see too. So we actually have Artwork by Jojo in the building.
Hell, yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think this was like your moment for the most part too. I mean, like the conversation like actually kind of started off like very well too, and like we actually talked prior that we've been at like many like events together for the most part too. Like
Yeah, totally.
like the Toronto Rapstars one, but like more recently it was the Devontae one
Yeah, Devontae Woe.
and Devontae World, like that album party that was like sick too. Like
It
the
was very sick.
Wingstop.
It was like really incredible.
Yeah, man.
You
And
know,
like
I just love it. It's just that I love seeing a city like Toronto win
yeah, man.
because although many people outside of Canada and Toronto may see this as like small or puny or whatnot. However, they still can't take away the fact that Toronto's still winning.
Yeah. I mean Toronto and the GTA too, because I think
Exactly.
every region's like doing their own thing too.
Exactly.
Brampton, Saga, Durham region.
Brampton's running the entertainment game as we speak. For y'all with Office Movers, Toby with his sold out homecoming show, which I went to. Even my childhood hero Russell releasing Tabby Cat,
All right.
which is actually his last release for this year.
All right.
And then of course, Roy Wood's Flower City Heartbreak album and the 10-year anniversary show for his first EP ever.
But a little birdie told me that you were actually born and raised in Brampton, correct?
No. That is completely false. However, I was born and raised in suburban in a suburban area of Toronto called North York.
Okay.
And pretty much all through my life, we've been moving. So at one point in my life, we moved to Humberwood, and then of course moved to Brampton, and then moved back to North York, and through that we moved back to Etobicoke, and then from there after moving to two places in Etobicoke, then we moved to Rexdale,
Okay.
which was close to the high school I actually used to went to. Shout out MPJ,
Oh,
Senior Percy Johnson. Go Jaguars, go!
All right.
And then
Yeah.
by like the year 2019, that's when I started to like move to like a different place in Ontario. However, that gave me like a different perspective of just life. You gotta go through changes in order to progress, and that's when I moved to Tonham.
Okay. So that's like the current place that you're living in right now.
I live in Brampton right now,
Oh,
and I've
okay.
been living there since 2024.
Okay.
Not since the beginning, but like since May
All
of
right, man.
2024.
And even like the environments like growing up in those like areas too. So what were they like for you like growing up? And would you say that it was a unique childhood, or would it be like very different?
I would say it was completely different because growing up, even as an autistic individual, there was a lot of challenges I had to deal with, whether it was, saying what I want or making new friends that will like definitely accept me for who I was. So it took a lot of, a lot of practice, whether it was through the help of my parents or whether it was through the help of my teachers in school from like even from elementary school all the way to high school. That's what really molded me into the person I was today. And while on the subject of like getting help, there were certain ups and downs with that, especially when with me not understanding like maybe the context of what maybe my parents are saying, or maybe not understanding the context of what's going on. But other than that, what my parents have done to like help out, it really just molded me into the person I am, and it also made me like super aware of like the signs.
Yeah.
So hey mom and dad, just so if case you're hearing this, just know that I love you.
Well said, man. No, it's amazing to hear. And I mean, I guess you're actually like Nigerian, correct too?
Yes.
Full like full.
Naija no de carry last.
All right. So what was like growing up like Nigerian like in like your area? You know?
Growing up Nigerian, it's been beautiful. However, there was like, certain setbacks from that. But like like so growing up, although there was like some things I was allowed to do, however, according to my parents, there were some things I was not allowed to do. I wasn't allowed to do, like, for instance, I wasn't allowed to watch YouTube, or I wasn't allowed to um shit. Maybe I wasn't allowed to maybe go to certain places that would like put me in danger, or or don't hang around with these type of people because they would influence me to do a lot of terrible things. However, I will say one thing: my in the environment that I'm currently in, my parents are supportive till this day, and I'm truly grateful to have two to have to have my to have two parents, especially my parents who came from Nigeria, to really support me on this journey that I'm currently still doing as a creative as we know it. And mind you, even before as a creative, there were certain fields of work that I wanted to do, like when I was little back in 2010, I wanted to be a doctor. However, that didn't work. And then by my preteens, I wanted to be like a producer because of like the apps, the drum pad apps, whatever, and I would just like practice my craft on. And then by 2017, that's when I kind of wanted to be a designer, but I didn't take it as seriously. Then by 2018 to like 2024, that's when I wanted to be an actor, which I went to school for, which is at Seneca, and the experience was great all along. However, my love for like just like the music that's coming out, and the dopest photographers even, and just like a lot of talent, that's what made me choose this path
Okay.
as a creative.
Yeah, but and like even like like you grew up in like a lot of areas too. So like, have you noticed the creative scenes like around that time, like growing up for the most part?
As for places like Rexdale, Etobicoke, and even North York, not sound like a hater, mind you, but I don't think I've seen that much talent until like, of course, I until I like went to down to like explored around Toronto, even in Brampton too. That's when I noticed talent. Even like before you heard of artists like of course Tory Lanez, and even Roy Woods. There was one particular artist from Brampton that he's my and I'm still cool with him till this day. Um, and his career, that and the way he's propelled from his career, from like the trials and errors in his life, I would say that there was like a lot of creativity in Brampton, especially with this one artist by the name of Russell, FKA D Pride.
All right, man. Nah, it's very dope to hear too. I mean, Deep Pride like led the mixtape era
Hell yeah, man.
throughout the early 2010s, and
Eh,
he had his creative approach like within like the mid like 2010s too, when he
Exactly.
transitioned to like Russell and like Pride. And I do see that he has like a lot of potential from that start too. Like he cultivated like a very unique fan base that like
And I'm
tapped in
part of
from
that fan base too.
exactly, man. And
Even during times when Russell thought he fell off, I was still there. I was still bumping his music regardless.
all right, bro. And it's amazing to see. Like, I mean, Brampton, like him and Honey Cocaine, like led the 2010s. So, like I can't like really say more on that, but they did like definitely do like their thing like within the 2010s too. So,
Yeah, totally,
dope to
totally.
hear, man. As far as the creative stuff too. So, how did you get into the creative arts? Like, even within like digital art and photography, you know?
Okay. So with of course with graphic design, um anytime like I would either anytime I'd either dig through what my parents have regarding like movies, especially Nigerian movies, even like the CDs that my parents used to have, or even like either that or just like the covers I'd see on TV, whether it's on I don't know, maybe BT while 106 in Park is playing. I would always see like the cover of an album, and I just be like, impressed by it, whether it's by color or whether it's by the design. And for instance, Drake's cover for Thank Me Later just encapsulated me because of course of the outline drawing of Drizzy looking up, and of course like the red color scheme, the red and black and white color scheme. That really just wowed me in some way, that an artist from Toronto who was like shifting progressively through the ups and downs of the industry from like Degrassi all the way to where he is right now. That's what the cover for Thank Me Later told me. And even for photography, right? My love basically came from like, of course, double XL mags. So like anytime I'm like seeing the cover or I'm like reading through the cover story, like the photos, they will just stand out to me. Like I'll never forget the times at the barbershop where I'd grab like the Chris Brown double XL issue from 2012 and then see these dope pictures of Big Sean rocking his chains, and you know, in a certain pose that he would strike. That was what you know inspired me to, of course, create. That was what like one of the key inspirations to, you know, to like create the ABJ magazine cover as you're seeing right now.
Amazing to hear, man, and like very great on like that progression on seeing it from Drake and then seeing it from other like backgrounds too with Double XL too, because they are iconic in a way too.
I won't forget seeing. I will never forget even like seeing the new Double XL issues on like stands at like Shoppers Drug Mart or at a convenience store. I won't forget. I mean, and that was where I saw, you know, covers of Diddy, No Diddy, and then even the Drake and Nicki Minaj cover.
Okay, cool.
And even I won't forget seeing like the Def Jam 25th anniversary cover with like Rick Ross, Ghostface Killah, Joel Santana, Fabulous, all of them that were on the Def Jam roster.
Yeah, man, it's sick to hear. And was it something that you initially wanted to do for a career, or have you had like other aspects like, prior to that?
So my initial goal as a creative was, I mean, even like on the starting points of that, I somehow wanted to be like famous and known for my art. However, during that, I've somehow seen like the writings on the wall through like YouTube videos about how artists did with fame and without, how artists managed with fame and without fame. And I've already seen like the consequences of what fame can do to everyone. And honestly, I don't want to like, you know, I'm not the type of person to like sell my artistic integrity as an autistic creative to like where, okay, to where, oh, this label owns my shit and then this label owns my shit. So I don't want to like be like a slave.
Yeah. Like you want to do like ownership for the most part.
Exactly.
Like, have like your trademark.
Yeah, beyond some INDEPENDENT shit.
Facts, man. Nah, it's definitely like very important too, because you own your ownership too.
Exactly.
Whether it's like your intellectual property, whether it's just like with your trademark, your logo, your style, and all that too. Like you have to keep it like either way too. I know there's other times too, like when they do see it in a certain stuff too. Like there's like some people that might see it in a way and like they do a cease and desist, or
Yeah.
they try to like get at you like, hey, like
That's if you like try to like profit off of it
yeah,
without their like permission.
Yeah.
Which is why whenever you see my ABJ covers, I will like give credit to the original photographer so that their work, so that they can feel like validated with each work
okay,
of which each work of art I do within magazine covers.
that's facts, man. And like, what inspired you to do this? Like, to even take on this approach as a creative, as a photographer, as a digital art designer, as a videographer, and even like take it to like the next level where people are seeing your content, you know?
Okay. So with graphic design, there was one specific dope graphic designer / art director whose work was like so barrier breaking and just so groundbreaking. And that one would definitely be All Black from Chicago. In case you don't know, he's done covers for Meek Mill, Future, Jay-Z, Rick Ross, and even like Just For Everyone. Most notably, he did cover art for Meek's Dreams and Nightmares. He even did a cover for Gunna and Lil Baby's project back in 2018. He even did cover art for Future's Monster. And when I first came across his work, to see that he's actually the one behind the Meek Mill cover with the Rolex and the handcuff, bro's creativity is out of this fucking world. And that is something that I really want to take part of as a creative. And two, there was like, so even with like pop art, which I haven't done throughout this year, there were two music videos that really played an important role in my life in case of like how I see the world in color. And those two would definitely be Kanye West's video for Good Life back in 2007 and Kid Cudi's video for Day and Night. If y'all know, y'all know. Those two videos were fucking bananas. And the fact that they had the same director just like embrace his creativity on that canvas of a video, that was mad nuts. I think my favorite part of like the Day and Night video was, of course, when they had like some lady turn into an owl, or when Kid Cudi was like drinking a beer but then turns to a milkshake. And I think my favorite part, which even plays part in like my pop art series called On Some Good Life and Day and Night shit, was the video for Good Life, of course, was when, you know, the lyrics were going through Kanye's shades. And that's what like even like just took my creativity to a whole new level.
Yeah, that's facts. Even for me,
and even for videography, I was ever since like a youth or a good youth, I've been in love with like music videos, specifically from like directors from Hype Williams, Anthony Mandler, or even Director X, or even Colin Tilley. And what amazed me about them is that their visual storytelling speaks for themselves. That's what speaks for like their work ethic. That's what got them to even like work with the biggest artists of the century.
Yeah, amazing to hear, man. Like for me, like some of my favorite like music videos of all time too. I'd say Californication by like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, where they use like a lot of like CGI artwork like within the video gaming and everything else too. Like that was like very creative.
Yep.
There was like Piggy Bank by 50 Cent, where they do like more of the CGI video games.
Yo, if that was made today, people would call it trash.
Yeah, nah.
But for those that people who may call it trash simply because of the animation, they really don't understand the depth behind 50s beefs behind 50s beefs.
Yeah, and even there was like a song, I think Kendrick Lamar and I think J Rock and Schoolboy Q. It's like I think Say What's Up or something like that too, where like the camera angle, like
it was fisheye.
It was like a fish eye and all that too. So and like that was like a very like unique style too. Headlines, music video by Drake. Like
I love that video so much. I won't forget like, you know, seeing a video on the Much Music Countdown. Like Drake really put on for Toronto like that.
True. And recently too, I actually just found out too. I don't know if you're like a big fan of the Roots too, where they actually had a music video for What They Do and all that. This is like I think on their 1993 project.
Okay.
And basically they were sitting in like a table like this.
Fun of Pac's videos?
They were making fun of Pac's videos. Yeah. So like they had like some girls like dancing, do.
While the bandmates are just doing nothing.
Just doing nothing, just spitting rhymes and all that.
Dang.
But no, it was pretty iconic too. So you definitely have to check that out too. I mean, getting back.
I forgot one thing that also like inspired me more about videography. This one documentary from Jay-Z entitled Fade to Black. Like the visuals and like, you know, the visuals of him performing and him like working on like some songs for the Black album. That was what really struck me. Like I will never forget the times just being geeked and like going downstairs to wait for, you know, for my dad to come down and then to just turn on Fade to Black and then watch the whole entire movie.
Iconic, man.
It was really iconic.
Iconic, bro. As far as like your like, you know, inspirations, so like who are your inspirations in terms of your creative like journey so far?
It was like right now?
It could be right now, it could be like old, or it could be all time, you know?
Okay, so All Black would be number one. The late great Virgil Abloh, long live Virgil, his art will always live forever. So Me, who of course is behind Kanye's video for Good Life and Day and Night by Kid Cudi. Even up to the nowadays and times, such as this one photographer named Jetlag, whose work is outrageous. I'd even say Sarah Delangel because of the way she does her motion, way she does the motion blurs. It just got my eyes spinning around like a tornado at some point. Shouts to you, Sarah. And I would also say my guy of the Saint, whose work speaks for itself, and Saint needs no introduction. No Saint needs an individual like Saint needs no introduction when it comes to like delivering top content regarding recaps of like the show. Mind you, he's done great things. He's got partnerships with Billboard, Hip Hop DX, Wingstop, everything. And I think my favorite work from Saint has to be the recap he's done for he's even or the one he directed for Ashake's concert at the Scotiabank Arena. Then of course the OVO Fest, all Canadian North Stars where Drake brought out the legends, Cardinal Fischel, Socrates, Julie Black, Keisha Shante, Nelly Furtado, and Chaos.
Even the Asake thing too, where I think he was like the main like media like team to make sure like the thing
exactly
goes well. Yeah.
And even my last favorite video from Saint has put together was the one he put for his own media outlet, which used to be The Moment. Now it's OTS Media. It's one where he had Tilmy as the headliner.
Yeah.
And look at Tilmy right now. She's now going to be performing in Nigeria on December 19th. So y'all don't want to miss it. And plus, she's even on the latest song, on Leila Dey's latest song, All Yours. So go give that a listen.
True. Juno Award winner as well too with the
exactly.
song too.
She even opened up for Burna Boy and Wizkid.
Yeah.
And Mr. Easy too.
Yeah. I mean, I remember she was I think opening up for Asake, and then
she was opening for Asake?
Yeah, like a long time ago. Like that happened like one point, and I think something might have happened, but
okay.
I heard some stuff too. But yeah, Tommy did her big one like on a loss.
She deserves it all.
Yeah, bro.
Now that she's on the radar for 2 songs, Moo Moo and her, of course, the All Yours song with Leila Dey.
Mando P, man. Gotta give props. So I wanted to, so
gotta give props to Tilmy too.
Yeah, exactly, bro. As far as like your first project, like how was that like, and like when you first started, like what was like that process like from start until finish?
Okay, which covers are you talking about? The first one, or maybe like the cover art I did for Leila Dey's Attention remix? If you want to,
we could do the Attention remix.
All right. Okay. So how the concept came, right? So, and it was a funny story. So, one day while I was waking up, getting ready to go see Aqyila at her headline show at the Drake Underground, I got a DM from Leila saying, "Hey Jojo, how you doing?" I'm like, "Yo, I'm blessed as a motherfucker. How about you?" And then Leila's like, "Okay, I heard today was your birthday." And I'm like, "No, it's December. Right, you're close, but it's December 4th." And so she said, "Okay, big day. What you gonna do?" And I said, "I'm gonna see Deborah Cox, Division, and Julie Black at the Roy Thompson Hall for the Clemens Christmas concert." And that's when Leila was like, "Okay, so I'm planning on releasing the Attention remix by New Year, which was 2025. So I'm wondering if you be interested in doing cover art for that." And I was like, "Never thought you asked, but I'm on it, Leila." And then as a few days go by, Leila sends me 3 photos that Coops captured of not just her, but also of Taylor G on one side and Double M on another. And then she even told me the details about like the image that she wants to use for the cover, which I did. And then initially Leila said she wanted to go for like a magazine cover vibe, just like how she's seen my mag cover. I even did even before this, I did a magazine cover of Leila back in August of 2024, and then from the minute Leila DM'd me, judged by saying showing appreciation to the mag cover, and then saying that she saw my concept covers of Double M, it's been up ever since. And so I did the cover art for the Attention remix with the word attention behind Leila with the shades and Double M and Taylor G, and then put the remix on there, which Leila actually wanted me to do because I forgot that it was actually the remix to Attention. But other than that, the minute I sent the final result of the cover to her, the rest was history.
Yeah.
And it's now out on all streaming platforms. So go ahead and stream that. Even the video too.
True. Did you ever like get like any like royalties from that cover art, or was it just like like Leila like just posted and like gave that cosign from there and all that?
I wouldn't exactly say I collected royalties from that. However, she did send however, Layla did send the commission the commission price that we did for the cover, and the as I said, the rest was history.
All right, man.
Little known fact, I actually did the cover art for LocoCity's credit card. And how that came about, so it was during quarantine. So it was, during a time when COVID was still at large. And then I came and then when I was on YouTube and I came across, oh, Local City has a new song called Credit Card. Okay. So I listened to it, I vibed to it, and then I was like, you know what? What if I do cover art to that? Which I did. So at the time being, I used PixArt for like the half design, and then used InShot for that. And then I think I posted it at one point, and then as I did, next thing I know, I got a DM from Loco City saying, "Yo, send me this." And then he eventually sent the email, and then I sent the credit card cover that I did to him through his email, and then just like that, my cover for that song specifically was everywhere.
All right, man. Legendary moment right there, and too, and like I guess like you're working with like Logo City like further from there, even with Layla as well too. Like have you ever had like any people like that tapped in like, hey, like I want you to do like my cover art like just for like music releases and all that.
Yes. That's what happened with Fame Holiday this year, and he said he was like doing it from his doing his comeback from his hiatus, after getting married. So.
Yeah.
He asked me to like do like a magazine type post for for his music release, and even also Phoenix Pagliacci too. Shouts to her. She even reached me. She even wanted me to do the magazine cover for her R&B Diaries EP, which is out right now. What you may not know about me and Phoenix, we've been tight ever since we first met at Stack Market back in 2024. And the first time I met her was at the Moments Cookout, which Of the Saint put together with DJ Mel Boogie. And then I didn't even know who Phoenix Pagliacci was at that time until I seen her perform. And at that time, I even didn't know how to pronounce the last of her artist name.
Yeah.
So I said, oh hey, Phoenix Pagliacci, boom boom boom. And then months later, Phoenix posted on her story about, looking for, like a videographer who was going to do BTS for her Squad video. And then, without hesitation, I just replied right here. And then minutes later, Phoenix replies, asks me what type of camera I shoot on and, how much I charge. And then, and then from there, that's when after giving Phoenix my number, that was when shit took off. Phoenix then, told me the date of the video shoot, and then gave me and even sent an email about sent an email about even like where the video shoot was going to take place, which thankfully it took place in Brampton. So on the day of the video set, everything was fucking lit. Not only did I see Phoenix, but through her, that's where I first met Truss and Tamir. And both those guys are cool, and they're still my dogs till this day. So shout outs to Truss, Tamir, and of course Phoenix Pagliacci.
Back to man. Definitely like agree there, and like it's amazing to see with your work and your content on how it's like leading on to like bigger levels too. And like I wanted to also ask too, so like what made you decide on doing like the whole like magazine like cover art, like even like pertaining to the Canadian like music scene, and even with the formation of like Artwork by Jojo,
All right. Basically, I did this all for the love of and I did the magazine covers all for the love of proving people that everyone actually gives a fuck about Toronto talent. Because with like blogs and of course Double XL, they've shown love to like certain artists from Canada, whether it's The Weeknd, Jesse Reyes, even Roy Woods, Tory Lanez, and even Drake. However, with magazines, besides magazines like Double XL, showing love to like Drake, Cardinal Fishel, and even Russell too when he used to go by D Pride. They never ever shown love to like the actual music scene, like the local scene in Toronto, even like the ones who are still in the mainstream and the ones who are not. So that was like the push for me to like create my first ever double XL inspired mat cover of Rochester, which was initially part of like my Canada Day edition of the On Some Good Life and Day and Night Shit series. But that was until I posted my like mat cover of Division. That's when I posted it just by itself. And then of course, I think I can recall, I think the mat cover that got like the most traction was the one I did of Four Corners, Havaya Mighty, and Omega Mighty.
Okay. Oh, that's facts, man. And
So I did the mag covers all just for, so I did the magazine, so I did those magazine covers to like, shed light on the actual, talent in Toronto besides just Drake.
and that's like more of the idea of like supporting like local before global. Like, you're
Exactly.
only fully showing your full support like within like the local scene, like not really caring like what's going on like globally and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man, that's facts. And like with Toronto, like with Toronto and Canadian music too, like I wanted to like get like pick your brain for a bit too, like on that. So,
I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for that question.
what was like your first introduction to even with the Toronto Canadian music and like even like some of the Toronto Canadian artists like you kind of like grew up like listening to and all that?
Okay. Now, what I'm about to say is like pure Toronto lore. All right. But my first introduction to like, Canadian music, even without knowing, was through Flow 935, which was like the Hot 97 of Toronto. And the first two Canadian artists I've heard were Cardinal Fishel with Everyday Rude Boy with Ray Robinson, and Keisha Shante with To You. Now at that time being, I did not know that both of those artists were from Toronto. That wasn't until, of course, flash forward to 2011. That's until I heard Cardinal's the anthem, aka I'm from the T.O, that one. And then of course I didn't know that Keisha Shante was from Toronto until I maybe like seen her in Bow Wow's video for Shorty Like Mine on BET. If y'all were there. But yeah, and then as years went by like 2008, that's when a station like Flow 935 has like put me onto like many Canadian acts as possible. Like that's when they start putting me on to artists like Julie Black, Danny Fernandez, Melanie Fiona, Kreesha Turner. Even though at that time being, I did not know who Kreesha Turner at all was. Even Divine Brown, Adrena Mill, Socrates, and even Rochester too. And then years following, they put me on to like Daniel Daly way before he went by Division. And that was from his song with Rochester entitled What's It Gonna Be. As this may surprise you, I'm like well tapped in with like the music scene, all thanks to Flow 935. But my second introductory to like the other side of like just Canadian music was even Kiss 925 too. Like that's what put me on to Fifi Dobson, Down with Webster, Sean Desmond. Oh, I forgot. Flow 935 also put me on to Carl Wolf too, with the song Africa. And then, oh yeah, they even put me on to Classified too. Way before like talking about like years before Inner Ninja. Like during the time, I will never forget always hearing anybody listening and Up All Night on radio all day. Anytime I was making my way, anytime my mom would like drop me off at daycare, and it was just so vivid.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of a culture, and like you definitely understand it from like the groundworks and like how they like used to do it back then, and seeing like where it's like at now too. Like I remember even back in the day, like I actually shopped at a CD store like just some months back, and I remembered like Flow 93.5. Like when it used to have like the very old school logo, they would actually sell like like small like demo CDs of like certain like artists like in the way too. So I think they had like a partnership with like EMI where they had
Wow.
like Dwell, they had I think this other.
Did they also have Kanye West?
I don't think so. I think it was like a Dwell, Kemp, and it was just like exclusives for like their upcoming album. So they would used to sell that. I think they even like did that with like Much too, with some like exclusive songs. You get to hear like an excerpt of it, and then it would be like a vibe from there too. And like they did play like a part of the culture like within that time to
I
like
was gonna
now.
get onto how Much Music did that for me too. So like stations like Much Music and Much More, those really played an important role. Whether it was coming to like hearing like seeing these Canadian artists. Like of course I seen Carnal on Much Music. I've seen Julie Black on Much Music. I've seen Rochester on Much. But then as years went by, that's what put me on to like Sunreal, Rich Kid, Lights, Shad, even Chaos too.
Yeah.
Um, even the bands like Metric, Headley, Mariana's Trench, everyone, even Stereos too.
Yeah.
So without those stations, Much Music, Much More, Flow, and Kiss 925, how would I be even telling you about these artists?
Exactly, man. And I mean, it did play like a pivotal part, like in your career, like in a way too,
Exactly.
and like shed light on like the importance of Canadian culture, of Toronto culture, of how like the CRTC played that part in having Canadian artists be heard and not be like whistled to the side like as like other like stations like in the world.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. To even like speak more on like your day to day process, like when working on a project. So like being multifaceted, like what's that kind of like too, and like what would like a typical day be like for you, like working on a creative project, like whether it's like working on the magazine cover art, or whether it's
Cover
just
art.
whether it's like like photography, like in that sense too. So
So with photography, I'm always on social media all the time. So like I may come across like let's say an upcoming event that may be happening next week, and then I either proceed to like and I take actions to like buy the ticket as as a normal human being should do. Um, then for cover art, this is what a good individual by the name of LJ Visuals taught me during my headshot session last year while I was like still on the phase of being an actor. He told me that oh, since you love doing cover art, I want you to do this. Always be on the lookout for when an artist announces like their next song or their next album or next EP or whatnot. And then while you're on it, do as many covers as you can. And when you're done with that, post it. But before you do, tag the artist and the manager even. And when you repeat the steps from 1 to 4, the more you consistently do it, the more it'll make the manager say, "Oh shit, this JoJo's work is very hard. I would love to work with him." And that's what worked with me. That's what like led me to even do cover art for Leila Dey's Attention remix. And you want to know what the key inspiration for like the concept covers? YouTube covers, especially from Russell too. Because like anytime I won't forget, like anytime Russell would drop like a new video, whether it's him, I won't forget when he like did a freestyle to Lil Wayne 6 foot, 7 foot, DJ Khaled's All I Do Is Win, Diddy Dirty Money's Hello Good Morning and Coming Home, and even his cover to Drake's Fireworks, which I've watched. Those were like the key inspirations of like doing like up to like concept cover arts. And those cover arts, that's what like gained traction from like of course Leila Dey. Even I even did even people like TV Gucci, also Double M as well, and just like everyone in the Canadian music space.
yeah, man, that amazing to hear too, and like it led to like other opportunities with Toronto Rapstars, with Media Pass, even with like Academy Presents, which was like my stomping ground side too, like when it came to the creative work too. So how did you link up with those to work on their content, and what was like that experience and feeling like
Okay, now with Toronto Rapstars, shouts to him. Um, when I reached out to him last year when he was like posting about like getting media access to shoot his first ever creators only event. And I said, right here. And so after I sent that text to him, he says, okay, just put your name, which I did. And then I think he also asked me if I can remember. He then asked me what type of camera I shoot on, which at the time was the Sony ZV-1, and then from there, it's been cool ever since. First time shooting photos for Toronto Rapstars was at their first creators only event. Then I of course shot their second one for International Women's Day this year, and then even their basketball, their Who Runs the Six event too, which was amazing. Now for Media Pass, that is like a photography publication that I'm actually part of, and I've actually joined that program since spring of 2025. All thanks to Imani, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to you, Imani Busby, if you're listening to this. But yeah, how I joined Media Pass, the Media Pass page itself would like post, looking for like they say like, oh, applications are open for like their EAP program, which I applied to. And then after I did my due diligence on like applying to there and then, filling in questions about photography or whatnot, the next month I got an email from Imani saying, of course, I applied to that program. And then a few months, I think the next month after, which was in May, that's when I got accepted into the program. And really, it's been up ever since. And I won't forget the amazing opportunities that MediaPass gave me. For instance, the biggest opportunity I've had shooting for MediaPass was the Some Kind of Festival, day one in St. Catharines. And really, it was like very life-changing because who would have known that I would go from shooting photos at like little local or big local events in Toronto to now even shooting at like one of the major festivals in Canada, especially for one of my favorite new Canadian artists, such as Aqyila, which I've been shooting for months this year.
Yeah.
Whether it was starting with her, and plus I even been like shooting photos of her since I first met her at the first ever Billboard Women in Music Awards. So okay. I shot photos of her at the Legacy Awards, shot photos of her at her first headline show at the Drake Underground.
Yeah,
I even shot photos of her at her release event for Falling Into Place, and then North by Northeast, and even like a week prior to shooting photos for Aqyila at the Some Kind of Festival, I shot photos of her at the CNE band show. And how this happened, right? So, I was on my way back from Gavin Shepard's pop up, and I got an email from Imani basically saying I got selected to shoot for Aqyila. So she was asking if I'll be able to make my way to St. Cat's on that day, which I said yes. But then I became a little skeptical about it because I was like, since it's taking place in St. Catharines, how am I going to get there? I thought I had to travel by plane. Literally, I thought I had to travel by plane to get to St. Cat's, but no. All thanks to public transit, that helped me, and I did something that a lot of people, including Imani and Aqyila herself, would consider real dedication, and that was by literally showing up, and that was by literally waking up at 4:45 a.m. in the morning, getting out the house at 5, and then taking two public transit buses to all the way to Square One in Mississauga, which I thought someone was going to pick me up to take me there, but they had a last minute change, so I didn't give up. Although I almost felt like giving up, I didn't fully quit. So that's when I've, took the Go bus to Toronto and then a mega bus to St. Cat's. And then the midnight took the Niagara Regional Transit bus to like Montebello Park, which the festival was taking place. The rest was history. And of course, shot photos for Aqyila in her elements.
Nice,
even
man.
BTS too.
Yeah, man. Did you also shoot the upper headliners the Money Long or Mariah the Scientist, or was it just only Aqyila?
I was only there to shoot for Aqyila, so I couldn't shoot photos of other artists who were there, such as Alvin War, The Honest Guy, and Ariana Reed. But shout out to all of them. They really put on an amazing performance. And of course, I was there with Leila Dey and Aqyila as we were watching Frié and Jacquees. But by the time that Money Long was about to go on stage, I had to leave.
Yeah, man. I mean, St. Catherine's, it's too much, and you have to head back too. But that's real dedication.
Gotta make sure I gotta get some good night's sleep from the crazy event I just captured.
Real dedication right there, brother.
Exactly.
And I wish nothing but the best, even in that sense too. And even like these like cosigns that you've been getting from like all these like people like in the industry too. So how was that feeling like, receiving that, getting your flowers from all these like people in the city,
It's very rewarding, and this was something that getting cosigns from like the artists in Toronto, it's been really rewarding because throughout like the 2020s, I've been wanting to like get cosigns and like meet these people. And that was something that was actually like one of my goals as a creative too. Like, was to get, be known and then of course get cosigns from that. But then when you really look at it, it really wasn't that easy at all to get cosigns because one, I would just say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that," and then I just end up doing nothing. However, I won't forget one time, in like April of 2020. In like March of 2021, before like we had to stay home. But at high school, specifically St. Thomas Aquinas, there was an assignment we had to do about success vision boards. We had to like place a couple pictures that like represents what we want our life to be like, and that's where I placed pictures of Julie Black, Cardinal Fishel, Maestro Fresh West, and even Melanie Fiona. As the next month goes by, I'm cooped up in my room because I'm taking virtual classes. One of my teachers said they got a surprise for me, and I was like, okay, I'll wait for the surprise. So after I did my virtual work, I joined the Google Meet, and then I see like all the teachers gathered together, and I was like, oh, what's going on? And she says, oh, we have a surprise for you, and then bam, it is a shout out video from Julie Black. And bro, that almost made me like cry tears of joy.
Yeah.
Just hearing such positive words from Julie Black just empowered me to just, celebrate myself and know that I'm like very brilliant and loved and changing the world for better. And that was the exact words that Julie herself said in the video.
True.
And then from there, I've been like so eager to like meet these people at like these events I want to go to, which I actually didn't do because one, I would just do nothing, but two, I had to like focus on like finish on school, especially leading into college, as I was like studying for the ACV program. So those were the times where I couldn't actually go to those events, and plus, I'm pretty sure the tickets to get to those shows where they were performing would be expensive as hell.
No, I know what you mean.
But then, after years of like, just like procrastinating on like making those things happen, by 2024, I made everything fucking happen. Whether it was in February 2024, that's where that was where I first met Julie Black. And heck, even at the same time, that was where I first seen Aqyila, as she was the opener for Julie at Harborfront Center. And then on the next week, like on the next weeks during study week, I see Julie Black again at Union Station as she was performing there. And heck, that was even the first time where I've seen Of the Same, where of course he was still big at the time, and he's still big. So
yeah,
and that was very, very insane. And to make that even more better, by April, that's where I first met Carl Wolf at his release thing for Only Tonight. Then in May, I really haven't done anything, but there were two events I wanted to go to during that time. Cardinal Fishel's birthday party and Russell's listening party for Dearly Loved, which I did not go to because one, I was still living in Tonham, and Uber to like get to those places would be expensive as hell, according to my mom. But that didn't stop me from like making that happen. And that was around summer of 2024, where seeing Fifi Dobson and Tyler Shaw at Harborfront Center, and then by July, that was where I first seen Cardinal Fishel performing. Not like when he was like, not like when I met him, because I didn't have like a media access lanyard on me, but I did get to see him nonetheless. Yeah. And then There was Stack Market. And then there was a Stack Market event where, of course, that was where I first linked with Of the Saint. And not only that, that's where I first met Rich Kid, Rochelle Show. You know them people. You know those people, right?
Yeah.
Rochelle Show, um, even Phoenix Pagliacci
Yeah.
too. And just when I thought it couldn't get way better, Stack Market, especially at Much Music VJ Shade Powell's Rebel Child exhibit, that was the official time where I first met Russell. And just like that, my inner 6-year-old self just came right out the minute I seen him in a Cleveland Indians jersey and a Cutie Pie designer hat. And even my brother told Russell that how much of a fan I was of him ever since the D Pride days.
Yeah, man.
And then September, it kept progressively getting better as I went to my first ever award show, which was the Billboard Women in Music Awards. And that was where, you
You were
know,
with like Tamir and like all the other people and all that. Too.
Tamir wasn't at the first. Tamir wasn't at the first. Was not at the first Billboard Women in Music Awards at the time. However, I did go with him and my brother to the Legacy Awards last year. Not the one where he performed with YSN Fab, Zach Zoya, and Taylor G. But regardless, yeah, me, Corday, and Tamir went to the Legacy Awards, and it was really incredible. It was just so eyeful to see, just a lot of black talent. And plus, that was even my first time meeting Carnal Fishel there. And the rest was history.
That's history, yeah. Exactly.
That's where I even first met Sad Boy and Smiley, even influencers and personalities too, like Femi Lawson and Alicia Ace West. Also Avaya and Omega Mighty too.
Amazing to hear, man. And like it's great like seeing it like in all these like other aspects too. And even with like a lot of these like rappers and artists, singer songwriters, and like even like tastemakers like in the city, do you feel it's like important for them to work with people like yourself in order to seek like bigger opportunities or to like even improve their branding like in a way too?
Yeah, exactly. As long as I can, fully lock in on the vision they're trying to go with, which I am 100% good at, and I'm still working on it till this day. Can't front. So, but with like the deliverable times, that's where I'm sort of difficult because they say, hey, I need that. Because what if they say, oh, I need this by, I don't know, Tuesday, or maybe I need this by next day. But and I was and there were times where I just wouldn't reply to them. But then they messaged me about the cover. I would say, oh, I'm working on it,
Yeah,
which has happened multiple times.
Yeah,
but
things happen.
but hey, those were the stepping stones of what leads me to become a great designer.
Exactly.
And I think that aspect should be why the why
The scene
Canadian,
needs to, yeah.
why the city, especially artists such as Roy Woods, Savannah Ray, Sad Boy, even Tara Lord, Keisha Fresh, also legends as well, Carnal Fishel, Melanie Fiona, Fifi Dobson, everyone.
Yeah, that's facts, man.
Even Dylan Sinclair too.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, brother. And even being a black man, like even in this like digital creative like arts industry, have you ever felt that you had to need to compete or to work twice as hard to gain the same respect or value as like a white or a non-black creative?
Never. The only competition I deal with is myself. And instead of like being complacent about what the type of designs I put out, I proceed to like put out more designs that are more better than predecessor.
Yeah.
Which is what I've done since 2024, ever since I did concept covers for Double M's customer service. And from there I've just been elevating.
Yeah, man, that's facts. And like even being a hardworking and consistent like creative too, like how did you even like provide like longevity to that? And have you ever felt you've grown as a creative in that sense?
Yes, compared to 2020, I think I've grown more as in like developing my brand and my identity, especially with like magazine covers, because when I started as a graphic designer in 2020, I just wanted to like strictly do cover art. However, I feel like I've expanded my mind more and even my vision too, with like concept covers and even magazine covers too. And plus, there were like times where I would or anytime I post like where anytime I'd post like a design or a cover or whatnot, I would just randomly tag people all just for them to see and like it.
Yeah.
Which may seem annoying to them, but I can understand that, you know, all artists are human. So that's exactly how I've grown. So I've cared less about, you know, relying on like tagging the artist, seeing my stuff because maybe because I see another artist like another designer stuff, but nah.
Yeah, man. It's amazing to hear, and I like your input on what you're saying right now, like about the idea of like growth. Like, there's like no competition. It's like, you know, you're only focusing on, you know, just doing the best that you can and just to show love, like when it's
Hell
doing
yeah.
all the two. And like,
Absolutely,
man.
absolutely.
And like for people that want to be in your footsteps one day, because you know, someone like there's like someone that like they are inspired by you and all that, you know, like they see you as like a visionary. They see you as like someone that they want to be and all that too.
A visionary is a big understatement. I'll tell you that.
Facts. But like what would be some great advice that you'd like to give to any like aspiring creatives like out there too? Because
Okay.
I know at like one point you were someone like that too, like in the past, but now you've had the experience and growth. So even giving that advice to like what would it be, you know?
Okay. So one, I would say, of course, as it's gonna be cliche, but be consistent, keep going, and also for like how you want your designs to be, don't be a copycat. All right, don't like steal, don't bite, and also don't like use people's things without giving credit, because at the end of the day, creatives like us, we all deserve credit for the work we put in 1,000 hours, and no one can take that away from us, especially AI. And yes, I'm talking to you, Zania Monet. Um, but yeah, keep going, be consistent, and in case you're like feeling like stuck or like suffering creator's block from how you want your designs to be out there, you know, just like, you know, create a couple more covers, play around with like a few more themes that'll match your identity, which is what I did with like pop art and even magazine covers too. And also don't be afraid to be out the box too.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more, man. And I think like that input should help like a lot of people like in that sense too. And like I know that we're heading into 2026 right now too. Like we're in December right now. So like
This year flew by fast.
I mean, great music, great content, like
Great
everything.
history, bro.
Exactly, man. And couldn't explain more. I mean, Chocolate just like even like dropped a new album too, but like we'll probably like discuss that like maybe.
Oh
like,
yeah, my former preteen childhood crush, Kreesha Turner is actually working on a jazz EP, and it might be coming out next year too.
Yeah.
So I couldn't wait for what she has to offer, you know, since she's been on a 10-year hiatus. And also I couldn't wait for like any high note she's about to hit that's about to like serenade my ears, which has been happening ever since watching her video for I Could Stay.
Yeah.
And you may not know this, but I used to have like a heavy crush on Kreesha Turner. Like like next to like Nicki Minaj, Carrie Hilson, everyone, even everyone that I used to like have an imaginary crush on.
Yeah,
and of course, it all started with like, you know, seeing her video for I Could Stay on the Much Music Countdown endlessly. Like anytime I'm like coming back from school, it's like go turn on the TV and go turn on Much, see what's on the weekly countdown. I would always see Kreesha's I Could Stay video. Well, now at first, when I first saw the video, I thought, oh, it's just another dope video from Kreesha. But the more Much Music kept playing it, that's when I became obsessed with Kreesha.
All right.
And then, you know, through the years, I've heard her songs and seen her vids on Much. And then through 2017, something was not right. As 12-year-old me was like literally getting heartbroken my heart was getting broke into pieces from seeing Kreesha in like Trey Songz vids, which, bro, it broke my heart to the point where I didn't even want to watch those videos.
Yeah, man.
From like starting from like from Nobody Else But You to like Song Goes Off, She Loving It, and Playboy. Out of those four videos, the last two broke my fucking heart.
Man, Kreesha Turner, definitely tap in with your boy, you know, like I know like he had that crush. I know that, you know, he was like fiending for it too, but
I was fiending mostly for her high notes, not just for how sexy she is, but also for like how flawless she sings them high notes that like musically turns me on.
Yeah.
And until say it still does.
Yeah.
Even with like artists like Luna L and Chantel May too.
Yeah.
But I will tell you what, around 2019, that's when, during the time I was on social media, and mind you, before being a creative, I was like a troll. So like I would just go under people's comments, talk the most nastiest shit ever. Like I wasn't like doing this under like musicians' page or whatnot. I was more so doing this like under throwback pages, which the more I used to do it, I would get blocked. And basically I was just like, saying the most nastiest shit about a song to the point where it even like gets a rise out of it. Like, bro, fuck you mean this song's trash? This song's a classic. And that was what I used to expect. However, when shit got too far with the trolling, especially with like the replies I got off of saying, oh, this song is trash, this song is so garbage, 0 out of 10. All thanks to YouTubers from Rap Critic to Todd in the Shadows to even Sick of BOT1. And I still watch until this day. Don't get me wrong. I still watch them for like their humorous takes and commentary. And I don't take them as seriously as I used to.
For sure, man. All right, man. I know we have to like wrap up for the most part too. So, what do you have going on next for like 2025 in terms of any creative projects or so forth, or even like 2026? And do you have any like closing remarks you'd like to say?
Okay. So for the rest of December, I'm gonna head out to every event too. So on December 13th, I'm gonna go to the Last Rise to see Luna L, and then by December 15th, I'm gonna go to the Remix Project's 20.0 graduation. Not that I was part of it, but I just want to like show love to like the artists who were part of there. For instance, Sofanari and Kilkoska. Then to wrap up 2025, I'm gonna go to Cardinal Fishhouse Christmas party. And mind you, I've been wanting to go to one of his parties ever since the birthday party back in May, and of course, since his 30-year strong party last year. But I know for a fact that once I go to Cardi's Christmas party, it's gonna be fire.
That sucks, man. And they could follow you at Jojo.
Okay. So yeah, you can follow me at Artwrk by Jojo, and that is ARTWRK by Jojo. Or you can follow my personal page for like, if you want like some dope shots, or if you want like dope cover art done by me, and that is at Jojo Ojo Fade to me, and that is at JOJOOJO F for Frank EIT for Tom IMI.
All right, man.
So please don't butcher the last name. I beg you. And I'll say this again: JOJOOJOFEITIMI.
All right.
And ARTWRK by Jojo.
All right. Say no more, man. Yo, Jojo. It's dope having you on, brother. Like, just to even have this like crazy conversation. I mean,
yeah, man.
Like, this is, I think, the first like full length like interview that you've discussed like your life story and everything else too. Like, I mean, you had the Rich Dad thing too, where they kind of did like a briefing too. But I think this one is like, your most like well known one that you spoke everything. Even like any question that I kind of missed, like in a sense too.
I think you missed like what was I as a young teen or an adult.
Yeah, but I think you were like, I think it was like self-explanatory with some of the stuff too. But
yeah, as like a preteen, I like leading up to like 12 to like maybe 14 or 15 to like 15. I was so down bad with like, experiencing heartbreak in high school, experiencing shit such as heartbreak in high school. And I'm never gonna get specific of the names of the girls that kind of broke my heart, just for the sake of like, privacy and, not making it seem as I'm just cloud chasing.
Yeah, no, what you mean, man. I mean, you're up and they might be down or whatever and all that too, but I mean, you're doing strong and all that too. You're happy, you're healthy, just enjoying life too. So it is like amazing to see too. And like, I do want to give you like your flowers too, like on being like one of the like rising creatives like in the Toronto like Canadian like music scene too. I also gotta give my flowers to like the dopest photographers that I've ever seen in Toronto. And this might be long, but I'm gonna give a shout out to shouts to Mara Moments, Sinner the Sniper, Cyril Angel, Hawaii Mighty Shooter, Flea Normality, Coops, Right Ones, Malik Stone, of course, Of the Saint, Robert O'Kine, Dane Z,
just everyone, even Jet Lag too, and Keem's behind the cam. Everyone, you know, I'm here to support all of y'all.
Yeah, man. I mean,
mind you, I used to be like a jealous. Mind you, as a kid, I used to be so fucking jealous of people winning because I wanted to be the rest winning while the others were losing. But anytime I'd lose, I just be crashing. I used to be crashing out. But as I've grown as a mature adult, I can proudly say I am definitely proud of what the city's doing with their creatives, and I always want everyone to win.
Yeah, man. No, that's facts, bro. And I wish nothing but the best for your journey within like everything else too, and like everyone that you mentioned too. I mean, everyone's like doing the big thing too. You're doing your big thing too, and it's amazing to see, you know. And
even also like to give a shout out to also last shout out to another dope photographer, two dope photographers from Scarborough, and those two would be Alicia Reed and Anil.
Yeah. Shout out to those guys as well too. So yo, this is Josh, also known as Yashu, another episode of TLOY Talks podcast with the legendary Artwrk by Jojo and all that. You can get this on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Buzzsprout, much more. Definitely check out his like work on all platforms, Instagram, and much more too. Even some of his cover art too, like whether you see.
Also, you can check my YouTube content on YouTube, and that is GI Jojo. And you can check my videos there about nostalgia, like whether it's like, you know, the BT notarized or even my current one, favorite Flow 935 songs, which of course is like a compilation of like the songs I grew up on when I heard them on the station.
100p, man.
It may include some songs like you may remember or some you may have forgot about, but yeah. Go check that YouTube page out.
Go tap that in. So yo, Josh, also known as Yashu, Artwrk by Jojo, signing up, you know? All right, man.